Think back on your life for a moment. How clearly can you remember the last time you got hurt, physically or emotionally? The moment someone said something that pierced you, the loss that sank into your chest like a stone, the time your heart didn't just break, it echoed. Now compare that to your happiest memory, the most joyful moment of your life. Isn't it strange how sometimes even the brightest joy feels like it fades faster than a shadow? But pain? Pain lingers. It shows up suddenly in memories we didn't invite, in stories we retell without meaning to. Why is that? Why do we remember pain more deeply, more vividly than pleasure, even if most of our lives are filled with moments that were actually okay? The answer lies not just in memory, but in evolution, in the way your brain is wired, not to make you happy, but to keep you alive. Welcome to MindShift, the channel where we explore the emotions, patterns, and psychology that make us human. Today, we're diving into one of the strangest truths about memory, why pain sticks, and what we can do to shift the balance. Let's start with a story. A woman once recalled a moment from her teenage years when she fell off her bike during a family trip. She remembered the gravel in her skin, the sting of the scrape, the embarrassment of crying in front of her cousins. She could recall every detail, the color of the sky, her mother's voice, the way her heart pounded in her ears. But when she was asked about the rest of the day, the picnic, the laughter, the moments before the accident, her memory blurred. The happiness faded. But the pain? Crystal clear. This isn't just her story, it's ours. And here's why. The brain is a survival machine. It doesn't care about your comfort as much as it cares about your safety. So, thousands of years ago, humans who remembered painful experiences, like eating a poisonous plant or getting too close to a fire, were the ones who survived. The brain learned, pain is information. Pain is a teacher. Pain is a warning. Pleasure is delightful. But pain? Pain is useful. So your brain doesn't just remember pain, it prioritizes it. This is called negativity bias, and it's one of the deepest, most stubborn psychological patterns we have. The brain is always scanning for danger, storing unpleasant experiences faster, and replaying them to make sure you never forget what hurt you. In fact, studies show that negative emotions activate the brain more strongly than positive ones. Just one traumatic experience can build neural pathways so strong they become automatic. Pain leaves instructions. Pain leaves footprints. Now let's add some fun psychology to this. There's a well-known study that found it takes at least 5 positive interactions to balance out one negative one in relationships. 5! Your brain needs 5 hugs to recover from one insult, 5 compliments to neutralize one criticism. That's how powerful pain is. And here's a quirky historical fact for you. Back in ancient Greece, a philosopher named Theophrastus once wrote that humans remember injuries forever, but forget favors with the wind. He didn't need neuroscience to figure out that pain lingers long after kindness fades. People have been complaining about this part of the mind for over 2,000 years. Which also means, if you've ever wondered, why can't I forget what hurt me? Congratulations, you're just very, very human. But there's another layer to this story, and it's emotional. Pain isn't just physical. It's deeply tied to meaning. When something emotionally painful happens, like a betrayal, a heartbreak, or being humiliated in front of others, it threatens not just your body, but your identity, your sense of belonging, your belief that the world is safe. So your brain stores emotional pain like a permanent bookmark, a file labeled "Never Again." It's one of the reasons breakup memories hurt longer than most happy moments in relationships, or why a single rejection can feel louder than 100 approvals. Some researchers even argue that emotional pain can last longer than physical pain because you can relive it again and again in your mind. If you break a leg, the pain eventually stops. But if your heart breaks, your mind can replay that moment forever. You don't just remember the pain, you feel it again. A neuroscientist once said, "Memory is not about the past, memory is about the future." Meaning, your brain holds on to painful moments not to torture you, but to protect you. But here's the catch. This ancient safety mechanism, which was once essential to human survival, might actually be what's making us feel stuck, anxious, or defeated in today's world. You're not being chased by saber-toothed tigers anymore. You're dealing with breakups, bad bosses, and awkward social interactions. The pain is real, but the danger is often not. Yet your brain reacts the same. So here's the real question. Can we change this? Can we train our minds to remember joy with the same intensity as pain? Yes, but it takes practice. And here's something beautiful. Even though the brain is wired for pain, it's also designed to adapt. One powerful way to shift your brain's focus is through something called savoring. Not just experiencing a positive moment, but stretching it. Because your brain usually moves past pleasure quickly. But when you slow down and take in a moment deeply, when you notice the details, breathe, look, feel, you're teaching your brain, this matters. Remember this. That's how joy becomes memory. Gratitude works in a similar way. Not gratitude as a shallow positivity trick, but as a habit of deeply acknowledging even the small things that brought you peace or warmth during the day. Here's something interesting. Even thinking about a past positive experience in detail can strengthen the neural pathways linked to pleasure and contentment. That's why reminiscing, the good kind, can literally make your brain feel better. It's like pain leaves scars, but pleasure can leave glimmers. It takes effort, but it's possible. There's a saying in psychology, the brain is like Velcro for negativity and Teflon for positivity. But if you work with it, not against it, you can slowly soften the bias. Not by pretending pain doesn't exist, not by forcing happiness, but by noticing, really noticing, the moments that made you feel alive, seen, loved, at peace. Because here's the truth, pain might mark you, but joy, slowly, gently, patiently, will heal you. And sometimes just remembering that is enough to begin again. We can't erase pain from memory, and maybe we shouldn't, but we can grow richer memories of joy. We can savor moments of connection. We can choose to replay the moments where we were cared for, not just the ones where we were wounded. Because what you return to becomes who you are. Thanks for watching MindShift.